Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday on 1410 KERI at 1 o'clock. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board, our producer, Greg Held. Clay, great show with Harley Pinson in the first half, and John Guindalo, counterterrorism expert for the FBI, in the second.
And a little discussion about the YMCA possibility of getting a Toyota.
Yes. Vote on July 4th. That's the only day you can vote. What was that website? Do you remember it?
No.
Okay. We'll actually post it again.
Good.
But John, the other night, we saw him in an event that he spoke at. He scared the heck out of me.
And John talked about Sharia law.
Yes.
Scared me too.
Yes. I highly recommend his book.
I think he scared everybody there.
Yeah, I think so. I highly recommend his book. Next week, our guest will be Michael Reagan, talking about the initiative to get California a part-time legislature, an idea that is definitely long overdue. Before we introduce our guests today, I want to bring up an issue that really tweaked me a little bit this week. If Clay and I make political statements, are we taking a chance that it might cost us, we might lose a client here and there? Sure, it happens. That's what happens when you go out into the political arena. You take that gamble. Now, Michelle Obama is out there this week, and she's talking about banning sugary soft drinks and all kinds of substances and putting controls on businesses and how government is really the answer. So she's putting herself out there, and that's fine. That's her opinion. She's entitled to it. But in the next couple months, let's not run behind your husband and say, wait a minute, my wife is not fair game. If she's got an opinion, that's fine, but she's putting herself out there in the political arena like anybody else, and she's subject to the consequences of being out there like anybody else.
I'm certainly glad I don't make any political statements.
That's my gripe for the day. On that note, our guests for the remainder of the hour, the political consultants consultant, Mark and Cathy Abernathy. Mark, Cathy, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Hey, thank you, Marty.
How are you guys?
Thank you for letting me get that off my chest before we...
Makes good sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out there, you're out there. That's fine, but don't hide. So you can't have it both ways.
Well, I have a number of political statements I'd like to make, but I think I'll leave that to Mark and Cathy today.
Yes, and I think Cathy said something the other day when we set this up that we're not going to have enough time today. We're going to run out of time, but that's fine. There's so much to talk about. So let's start with the big news. Wisconsin, what do you guys think?
Well, I loved Paul Ryan's statement on Monday before the election at the rally, and he said, tomorrow we save Wisconsin, and if we save Wisconsin, we save America.
I hope you're right.
Well, I think America was watching. Obviously, here in California, we had an election, but we're watching Wisconsin.
One of the comments I heard on the radio or on the TV was that the Republicans poured $34 million into that campaign to keep the governor there, and the other party only put $4 million in. Is there any truth to that you're aware of?
Well, what's the other party? It's in the Democrat circles now. It's the unions.
Unions, right?
And so they put the money in, and they do independent expenditures, and they have the ability to organize their union members to go out, whereas the private sector has to be, by law now, kind of hands off, pushing their employees to do anything political. So they certainly had more at their hands than people will realize.
How much did you say was spent, Clay?
$34 million is what was on one of the newscasts by the Republican Party to keep the governor there, and only $4 million is spent by the unions and the Democratic Party.
Okay,
which I think might be the opposite, personally.
I believe that if you look at all the money spent there by the unions, it's going to be more than $50 million.
Probably, yeah.
So, who was that Associated Press that made that story?
I don't know which one of them. It could have been any MSNBC or CNN or Travel News.
Either that or
they were quoting
some
newscaster.
Oprah Winfrey said that. I don't know.
Right before they axed her from her own network. But no, it seems as though every time, and I heard that from one of my counterparts in the media here the other day, it seems like when Republicans win something that they didn't think they should win, it's all about money. When the Democrats win, it's because they are on the high plateau of good government and sound policy. But, no amount of money is going to make somebody say this governor should be or shouldn't be recalled. In Wisconsin, everybody knew the issues. One of the key changes, though, was when this recall started, the unions were able to, foment a lot of signature gathering. But the reforms that Governor Walker had put in started kicking in, and the economy was getting better, and people weren't getting laid off, and things were going better, and that then changed the whole framework too. So if you just let reform take a chance and get operating, then you reap the rewards. And I think the governor reaped a lot more rewards from his improvements on the economy than he did from any dollar on a bumper sticker.
It was interesting that one of the comments I heard was, since the governor won, democracy is lost in Wisconsin. When actually, every time the Democrats lose, democracy seems to be lost. When in reality, when you look at what took place in Wisconsin with the turnaround of the budget, with the decrease in unemployment, it's one of the few states that's really moving in the right direction.
Absolutely, and that's why I think Paul Ryan's comment that Wisconsin saves America was so perfect. Because, yes, the voters voted in 2010 to put Scott Walker and his team in because they knew there was a big problem in Wisconsin with the economy and with the budget and the taxes and the overspending and the pensions and the unions. They knew the voters kind of knew that something had to be done. So they put in the conservative team. And what did Scott Walker do? He did exactly what he promised he would do. He cut the taxes, cut the budgets, cut the union's expenses, and balanced the budget. And then what happened? The economy started to come back. Unemployment started to come down. All the good things that he said would happen started to happen in Wisconsin. And then the unions come in, and they demand, hey, we were getting huge pensions and huge benefits, and you took some of that away from us, and you made us start to pay for our health care and premiums and start to pay for our pensions, and we don't want to pay. And so let's get all the unions from across America and come in and say, let's stop Scott Walker and Wisconsin right here, or else this might spread across the country. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen now.
Our in-studio guests, political consultants, Mark and Cathy Abernathy. So, Mark, what does this mean for November?
Obama out.
Ooh,
Republicans in.
I like that. I like the sound of that.
You know, Mark, you made a statement a while back. We had you on the show once about who was going to be the candidate.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
So I hope you're right this time.
Well, I think I said Sarah Palin, didn't I?
Yes. I love to tease you about that.
I still think she's going to be the candidate.
If that happens, we have to have him on the very next day.
All right, I'll be back when that happens.
It might not be this election, but maybe the next one.
Oh,
so
no.
maybe.
I hope not. I hope not, because that means that's a sign that something else happened. So
okay.
We don't want that to happen. So do you think other governors now are going to feel more confident and going to feel that, because, Walker's carried this all the way through now, and he's succeeded.
Yeah.
So do you think other governors are going to feel they can get away with doing the exact same thing?
Oh, yeah, this is encouraging people across the country. Again, what Paul Ryan said. We save Wisconsin today, save America tomorrow, and that is because, largely, that those Republican governors that are in have got elected on the same principles. Chris Christie, Indiana,
John Kasich.
Ohio, John
Kasich, yeah.
A number of others, Virginia. These governors got elected on the same platforms, and they have been moving in that direction, but they haven't taken the full steps that Walker did. And so now they are going to be encouraged to go ahead and start making those unions pay their way, and let the people keep more of the money that they earn. And this, obviously, as you know from your economics, which you've studied, this is going to let the free market grow. That's going to grow jobs. Everybody benefits.
Yes.
When the cheaters are made to stop cheating and stealing, then everybody else benefits.
And let's clarify, let's remind everybody when we're talking about unions, these are the public employee unions. These are people who bargain with our tax dollars with the politicians that we elect. So you have people on each side of the table, and normally the attitude of the politician, well, it's not my money, and I want to make you guys happy because you're in my face every day at the building in the Capitol. And so they cave, and they cave 1 to 2% at a time because it sounds so little, but boy, does it add up. And one, well, we won't give you a raise this year, but we're going to cut your work days, or we're going to cut, and all that just hits the users. So, and what I think is going to be important in Ohio is that Kasich tried these reforms. He got booted. They had an initiative. I guess it was a recall, not a recall of him, but I mean they did away with his reforms. I think these Ohio voters are looking at the economic improvement that's happened in Wisconsin. They may give Kasich now. He'll have a chance to go back in and put those reforms in.
When we come back from the break, we can talk about San Jose too. And San Diego. The Democratic mayor of San Jose did the same exact thing and cut pensions. Yeah. So some of the Democrats are jumping on the bandwagon now. So, okay, we'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, and 1410 KERI.